My name is Dr. Kendall J. I'm a 2023 ESE Ph.D. graduate, GRASP Lab, under the advisement of Kostas Daniilidis and Nikolai Matni. I initially chose GRASP because, it's a world-renowned robotics lab. It draws a lot of attention, it draws a lot of press, and there's some very interesting work that's happening here. I was able to spend some time here as a research assistant, and that really set the groundwork for what type of atmosphere was here at Penn and what type of atmosphere existed in the GRASP lab, and that's one of the things I really liked. So I got linked in with some of the students here, and I grew as a student eventually, and as a PhD student eventually, and then as a full-blown researcher. I knew that I wanted to do computer vision work, and I wanted to integrate that with robotics somehow, some way. A lot of the initial work that I started with was manipulation. I was looking for things to pick up in the real world. The next step in that was we started to get some wind about these cool vision sensors, or event cameras. Event cameras operate a little more closely to the way that our eyes work, where instead of a camera taking frames on a sequential basis, you kind of look at a pixel independently and measure the light intensity in each pixel. And that creates a spiking output that's similar to like the electrical signals that you would get from your eye, and that is transferred to your optical nerve. But the interesting piece is that we only get information about things that are dynamic in the scene, which means as long as things are moving in the scene or the camera's moving, then we will get information. If nothing is moving and nothing is changing in our scene, then we won't get new information. What I thought was that I could apply this to a situation where there's a lot of motion, and that's when I started looking at safe driving for autonomous vehicles using this type of sensor. Eventually that led me down a path of, I'm not gonna put this on a real car, and I should start finding platforms that work well. So I decided to take that technology and apply it to something that kind of related a little bit more to my childhood and a little bit more to where tech is today, which is autonomous vehicles. This is my robot rider. I ended up building an RC car that used this camera to eventually drive safely on a course that we designed. One of the biggest takeaways that I received from GRASP is being in an atmosphere where everyone is really pushing the limits and building on innovation in their field. You start to be in a place where you can truly share ideas and have some really good feedback. So that collaboration piece is really important. Additionally, and it's kind of the other side of the coin, is that you also find a new type of confidence to be an independent researcher, to be an independent contributor to a project, be it your own dissertation project or someone else's project. One of the things that has stuck with me is that I now know that I can learn almost anything at a pretty high level and be very well versed in using that knowledge for solutions to either someone else's problem, be it in a community or in a company, or for the world if you have larger visions. Being able to have that confidence in yourself to take in new material and be able to apply it to something in real time, in the real world, that's something I think I learned here at GRASP as a PhD student. Let's go! When it comes to outreach, I think GRASP does a really good job with interacting with the greater Philadelphia community, as well as communities in different states and across the world in some cases. Me personally, I was a co-organizer and co-director of the AI for All program at GRASP, where we took high school students in the greater Philadelphia community and brought them to Penn and to GRASP and taught them about AI, and eventually allowed them to run a group project where they were going to use some of the principles that they learned in machine learning and artificial intelligence. I also served as a GRASP liaison for the Meyerhoff Scholars Program at UMBC, where we were able to bring in students every year. I was here for the last 6 years. And I was actually a product of that exact program and became a liaison later, to come and give them an opportunity to take a look and be involved in some of the research at Penn Engineering, not just in GRASP, and give them an idea of what it would be like to be PhD students here at Penn. The advice I'd give now is very simple. I would say have a very good reason to start your PhD, and then somewhere along the way find a better reason to stay. The reason why I say that is the PhD is a complicated process. You're on the front lines designing different types of technology, finding different ways to solve problems, but more importantly, you're creating new knowledge as a PhD candidate, as a PhD student. If you're going to start a PhD, know why you want to start and have a good reason for starting and have a good reason for why you want to be a part of this community and why you want to develop new knowledge and why you want to further your field. Really take some time to find the reason why the fire burns. Figure out how to stoke it, figure out how to calm it, and figure out how to use it to power you to move to the next steps. I hope that my being in this space has impacted the space, the atmosphere, the people in a positive way. If I wanted to wrap everything up, there's only really one thing that comes to mind, and there was a quote that was said by Denzel Washington. It's so clear, so plain, and it really allowed me to push through some of the harder times that I had here in my work, and it's without commitment, you'll never start. Without consistency, you'll never finish. And it feels good to be on the other side and be finished.